To begin at the beginning, Christmas Eve 1974, this was my family. And this was me, a sailor home from the sea. That was the night I met Caddy. Half an hour later, we had our first kiss. 4 months later, we got married. The bus picked us up at the Dairy Arms. They were all there. Di Tushingham, the Reverend T.L., Jacob Ellis, Bella, and Maggie Post. Harry Parry was the driver.
What a right, all aboard. PSV, Public Service Vehicle, Lynchans Esplynol. Sydney mewn ffila fanna.
That's what you think you
Mitron was there too.
Beth mae I Mitron yn ei fan hyn e? Dwi ddim yn un o'r tylwyd na chi.
Wel, di chi sydd ddim chwaith?
O, nawr wy'n wahanol. Sabrina fi ni fel mam merch o. O, gael pwy chi de?
My brother Reg was best man. None of us knew that Caddy would be dead within a year.
Gwrddais i eriod â dy wraig ydi. Oedd hi'n ferch.
I had other girlfriends. Beth for one.
A ti dden dal i fi.
But I never married again.
O, i ddim yn gwybod, Scott, na gyd dwi'n...
Ond yw hwnna ddim yn stopo ni rhag bod yn ffrindiau nag yw.
Na gyw.
My last girlfriend was...
Helo, Sylvia Bevan. Reg, siw geswch. O, sa'ch fyna. Wendyn am dy frawd i'r ffôn. Wei, mae Reg eisiau gael dydy. Wen? Wen?
Well, there you go. That's my life. Wayne Harris. Born, lived, loved in Cwmderi. Died in a seaside hotel bedroom with somebody else's wife. It's funny seeing your life flash in front of you like that, especially when you are dead and gone. But there again, nobody really leaves Cwmderi.
Working at Gwenlyn was, as usual, a great pleasure and joy, happiness. We both believed absolutely passionately in doing a soap in Welsh, which worked and was popular.
It all started for me in a party in Llanishen, when the late Gwendolyn Parry came up to me and told me to apply for the job of assistant script editor. His assistant at the BBC, because BBC Wales were creating a new soap opera, 30 episodes, more than they'd ever done before.
We had a year to prepare, and we could gather half a dozen writers together, give them plenty of liquid refreshment, plenty of blackboards, plenty of meetings, and really establish characters that we knew could be played by certain actors.
Gwych chi'n mynd agor y llythyr, en?
Agor di e bach.
Wel, beth am y rules?
Beth?
Wel, dim o chi sy'n fawr agor official communications.
Darllen e.
Io, Mrs. Mathias, o.
Open mae e'n gweud yn yr ewls, nid read.
Ref com 131.
Y gyfynna, is lawr.
Mae fe'n rhaid, chymod, Mrs. Mathias. That deliveries as from December the 3rd will be by van from this office. You will understand that this...
Ie, na fe, na fe. Hynna gweud efo'r agor bach. Wedi'r oll flynydde, a doedd ddim o'r wyneb tyn oedd wedi weid wrthoi. Well, now then, the very first rehearsal was in Charles Street. And I remember we all sat around a very big table and we read through the script. And then John Havin said quite casually, well, if this series will be successful, it might go on. It might go on for a very long time.
And also we made a definite decision to put it in a real place in South Wales. Llanelli was 8 miles away, Carmarthen was 15 miles away. We were in Carmarthen between the coalface and the agricultural land.
It's a real place. It has roots and it belongs, and I think that helped tremendously with storylines and characters.
Yn beth yw e ti? Bendant. Fel ti'n bod e? Cannabis yw e, reit? Neu ryw ddrag tebyg iddo fe? Wel, deri wel e. Wel, pan a twtsa? Deri wel e. Fod, Jack. Cannabis yw e, reit? Di cwto mewn car i ni di bod yn ffixo. Ai, gwyllti nawr, nid i? Gwyllti, bydd ma polis yn mynd i weid. Hey, hold on. Sdim eisiau dod o'r polis yn agos ato e. Sdim eisiau gweud dim wrthon ni nhw. Gwrs bo fechan. O, ie. Be ma nhw'n mynd i weid am sy'n bod nhw'n gwybod bod y car wedi bod mae'r soriau man y bore, de? Nhw'n jest wedi ffindo y stwff yn unig chan. Ma nhw'n mynd i gredu yna, di nhw. Pam na ddylsen nhw? Wei, os ydym a'ch o sens.
I think the biggest enjoyment that I ever had was working with Wayne or with Dewi Morris. I think we bounced off each other very well. We had a lot of great laughs down in Newport Road there because it was only a small studio, and it was incredible what you could do in a small studio. You had the garage and everything, and you had cars in there.
Ah, the dairy arms. And look, there's Jacob Ellis and Bella having a chat.
I remember when I first had the script of Pobol Y Cwm, I had no idea how to portray Bella. And it took me 5 days. And I remember on the 5th day I went upstairs and I opened a box and there was a hat which I'd worn many years ago in a film. But I put it on my head and I looked in the mirror and shouted, Bella!
In the early days, about 19 years ago when it started, we were much younger, of course, Islwyn Morris and myself. Jacob Ellis obviously had to have a white wig, because my hair was brown and Islwyn's hair was brown. And he also had to have a white wig, and they were most uncomfortable things to wear. But as the years have rolled on, I've blanched, as it were, and I've no need of a wig. But Islwyn Morris has been able to keep the colour of his hair. So I think he must have got fed up with his wig and got rid of it. So we tried to fox the public into believing that Dai Tushingham uses Grecian 2000.
Gymaint about David Tushingham, Margaret Jane Mathias.
This is Harry. Yes, Mr. Harry.
Wel, gai roi o fel hyn. Rhaid amdani ydi, tyda ni ddim wedi blydu.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. Cheers.
How is she now? Negotiations have started.
Cwmderi isn't like any other village. At night, little men in white coats sometimes come and take your house away. And when they've done that, they put another one up in its place.
Used to play in this field as a lad. Climbed that tree. And that one. Llys Helig.
Stan and Doreen Bevan live here. You remember Sylvia, of course, his first wife? Stan stabbed her with a pair of scissors and she took him to the cleaners.
Stan.
Hospital. Never had much cause to go there. Gets busy these days, though. Ah, my sister used to work here. Maggie Post Shop, the focal point of Cwmderi. And here's another one.
A ti sy'n gyfrifol. Wi ddim yn fynd ar yng ngofyn I ti am ddim byd. Wi ddim eisiau bod yn yr un man na ti. Paid â twtsh yna I wneud I! Mi o'n i'n teimlo bod o'n rhaid I mi ddod yma. Mae'n siŵr y meddwl ni drafod hyn ar ysymol. O gobeithio rwch chi gyfle I mi egluro. Sdim eisiau. O, da chi'n dall, felly? O, dw. Ma pethau fel hyn yn digwydd. Na beth wedodd hi? Gobeithio na fi na ddim drwg deimlad rhwng ni. Wel, well I mi throi am adra, dwi'n meddwl. Na. A well I chi aros. Os dim diben i'r ddau, nhw'n I fynd os e.
Reg, please, paid â mynd!
Well, it's time I went anyway. It'll be daylight soon.
Will she wear lipstick today?
The people of Cwmderi get up very early in the morning. Well, there's so much to do. Everyone has to be on their best appearance because they never know what the day holds in store.
Shattered now.
Iawn. O, bachgen I weld. What's up, Ned?
Sy'n bod?
A boy and a girl.
Na, fi ne. Sa'n gwybod beth I wyd?
Wel, mae'n ddigon naturiol.
John?
Ble mae John? Mrs Rees, wy'n siŵr bod y babi mae newid I chewin. Sa'ch chi'n meddwl? Na. Chi'n siŵr? Chi'n siŵr bod chi ddim moyn i'r nyrs I newid I chi? Na. Argored te.
Ble mae John?
Wel, na beth o'n moyn I drafod â chi a gweud y gwir. Fydd yn rhaid ni wneud nifer o brofion pellach.
Profion? Beth yw'r profion?
Profion, wel, yn syml iawn, I geisio canfod beth oedd y broblem. Mae'n drwg calon dy fi arfer gweud hyn wrthoch chi, ond... Wel, fe wnaethon ni bopeth o fewn yn gallu. Ond, wel, yn y diwedd, oedd dim oedden ni gallu gwneud dros y fe. Oedd I ry hwyr, mae'n ei ofon. Mae'n wirioneddol drwg dy fi.
Dicterians is a perfect match to the other one. But then it gives a set problem then. You've used up your set. No, you haven't got any set changes at all.
These are the people who decide what happens in Cwmderi. Who comes, who goes, who gets born, who gets killed. It's not always easy.
I think the series has developed a harder edge. I think since we went daily, actually, society itself has become a much more violent place. And so we have made a deliberate effort to deal a little bit more with issues. But we aren't issue-led to the degree that a series like EastEnders, I would think, is.
With the recent cot death story, we had letters for and against the story, as we knew we would. By today, I think we've had more letters saying that it was a good thing to do because it was handled so sensitively.
The age group that we had originally was much older. There was a huge sort of strand which was very funny and quite sad often in the old people's home. The emphasis has gone to a different age group, and the stories have changed from being rather safe stories to far more adventurous stories, which are more controversial. The whole series is at an age when it can take on almost anything, I think. That's the joy of it.
Ryan hyfryd.
Wedi misio mis.
Herbert. Rhywun oedd yn byw yn Llandysil yn 1964 a fi oedd farw jyst cyn Nadolig.
Hei, beth ydych chi'n neud? Cerwch mas o fan hyn, reit?
Rhywch, dwi'n credu gallai'ch helpu chi.
Pwy chi'n siarad am ti, ha?
A'ch gwr chi wedi cael ei arresto a gyhuddol o fryddio Doreen Williams.
That was Llew, the local hack, uncovering some local secret. And he has a secret of his own. He thinks the world of Myra, but she's never understood why he left his first wife and baby son. Tonight, he finally tells her the truth. He, his late father and his baby son share a genetic disease. His son will never see adulthood. And as for Llew himself...
Da. Ti'n gwybod beth yw'r peth gweitha yw, bod nhw ddim yn gallu gweithio i fant amser sydd â fi, ti'n gwybod? Ond mae rhywbeth bach yn gweithio i na gai fynd ar fys am hanner pris. Na, plis, gai fi orffen, Meira. Oedd yr holl beth yn ormod o straen i Anna. Yn ormod o straen i'r berthynas, a diwen unig a oer dwi ddim yn beio Anna gwbl. Oedd dim dewis gyda ni, ond gwahanu. Yna ti. Na fi wedi agor yng nghalon i rhywun am y tro cynta ddi arni.
Wy'n fach bod ti wedi cael llynau.
Ie, wel, oedd rhaid i fi wneud Meira. Mwyn i ti cael deall pam na allai byth cael berthynas dwfwn gyda neb byth to. Dim hyd yn oed ti, yn ymwedig ddim ti. Ti yn deall yn gyda. Mae rhaid ti ddeall, Meira, does dim dyfodol i ni to. Dim dyfodol o gwbl. Ie.
Chi da, Llew?
We had a lot of arguments about change. But then having done it, once we did evolve all the time into what was the last stage I was involved with, which was going over to a daily. Not only was it right in terms of the evolution of the series, but it was in advance of all the other soaps that we knew throughout the world.
I know when they changed to having it every day, I thought, well, who thought of this? I thought he must have his head read.
It is a daily soap that people follow. They see people reading the same Western mails, and they see people reading the same papers as they are reading actually while watching it, and they're thinking, Christ, and they look again, you know.
Scene 9, page 35. Well, and doing the not braf.
Day in, day out, the actors have to face the realism of doing a take now and again and rehearsing all over again. But everybody's aware that 7 o'clock is there glaring at us in the face. They, the faces, have to look into the cameras and perform for that audience that night. When they have a strong story, I mean, the lines and the scenes and everything that I have to go through is a tremendous strain on everybody, especially when there is a very tragic story, because your emotions are running right at the time as well.
Okay. I don't need to see it. Just come out. The last 2 shots are out, by the way. 69 on 2 and 70 on 1 have been dropped. As the mug will be. Beautiful spot. And hold it. Stop recording. Check that, please.
Recording.
Nice one.
When fantasy and reality merge, I think, for the actors, is sometimes when you're involved in very, very emotional, strong scenes that take a lot out of you in the studio. And then, of course, the character can take over. You can't take the character's costume off, but the character stays with you because you've been living this, you've been living these emotional scenes. And of course, it's difficult at times to shake those things off at night when you go home.
Wy'n gwybod mae beth ydy bod yn anodd, a fi gyd ymdeimlo.
A rhaid ddiwn iawn heb dy gyd ymdeimlo di a phawb arall, diolch yn fawr iawn.
Drech beth.
Cer o ma, Glyn.
Yna, Gryndad...
Cer o ma, neu di?
Yna, wedi bod yn becso am beth i ti ers y noswaith o'n ddeas i yma. So Ifed yn mynd i ateb dy broblemau di?
O, fi'n gweld. Sa rhywun yn gallu cael drink bach ar ei heilwyd i hunan y dyddiau yma, na beth ti'n trial gweud y fe? Pa ti'n trial reoli mywyd i, Glyn?
So'n trial reoli dy fywyd i.
Wel, ti'n newydd dweud bod fi ddim yn gallu cael drink yn hun unan.
Ie, mae un drink yn iawn, odi ond...
Ond beth?
Ti'n gwybod yn iawn beth.
And when you've got a deadline to meet at, say, 5 or 5:30, and you know it's 3 o'clock, there's 4 more scenes to go, you know that people are beginning to panic everywhere. I mean, there's an editor out there who wants to put it together by 6.
Der ymlaen, gobai.
Shwmai, Jean. Siaws am baned. Shwmai, Clem yw'r enw, un o'r locals. Glywes i bod chi wedi symud mewn dros y penwythnos.
Listen, mate, my sentiments entirely, but you'll have to try again. Know what I mean? All that German's no bloody good to me. Now try again. I think Ron's function is really to kind of educate the Welsh. Basically. And that's why, when I initially started the series, I was so unpopular. Very unpopular, in fact, because the first episode I banned the Welsh speakers from the pub. As you can see, I'm quite a big bloke, really, and I can handle myself. But just in case, I've got 2 Rottweilers upstairs, trained guard dogs. And if they're out walkies, there's always this little beauty. And sometimes when I'm in the studio, and I'm standing outside here, the Derry Arms, to make my entrance, there's always a kind of dialogue before I go on, mentioning my name. And once or twice I've said to the floor manager, before we start, could you just tell me what they're saying about me? Because I don't know, because I don't speak Welsh. And on this particular occasion, the AFM said, you don't want to know.
Dimitri, dwan? A di fydd I lan nawr.
Gol, fawr. Ti'n gwybod that?
lle di?
Mynd ar y busnes.
Pob lwc i ti. Yr ast.
Na, Dic. Bydde fe byth rhywun peth.
Fe allan ni drial?
Ti'n gofyn i fi fadde. Siwr allai anghofio. Ti'n deall? Mae'n rhaid i fynd.
Byddai'n ôl rhyw ddwrnod. Pwy a wyr. Ti werth y byd, Mera. Cariad mawr. Dic.
One good thing about Cwmderi, you're always sure of a free haircut. Thank you. Yes, people come, people go. But one way or another, we all seem to hang around this place. Can't tell fact from fiction. Know what I mean?
80% of the people think I am Reg Harris. Talk to me as Reg Harris, think I am Reg Harris, and also they think they know me very well, of course. And then you've got to decide whether you're going to be kind and nice and have a chat with these people who insist on calling you Reg and asking you how your wife is, and you're thinking, how do they know Margaret? No, they're not talking about Margaret, they're talking about Megan. So it's, and it really is a funny kind of dual life. And there was a story that I went blind. I was in a car and the car blew up and I went blind. And I was walking down Swansea one day and I was working with Cwmni Theatre Cymru then. And in the middle of Swansea, this fella comes up to me and he says, I know who made you blind. I know who it was. And I said, who's that? That was that bloody Mike Pierce, he said. And I thought, and I couldn't believe this. I'm just walking down the road. I can see like anybody else. But this fella honestly believed in the middle of Swansea that I was blind.
Tish and I, we got married and we went to Mallorca, of all places, for our honeymoon. And I remember asking Gwyn Jones, well, Gwyn, why must we go to Mallorca? Why won't you take us to Aberystwyth? And he said, Harriet, you could, everybody would know you in Aberystwyth. He said, do you know, it would be impossible to film anything there. Right, we went to Mallorca. And one particular morning, you know, I was waiting for someone to come along to do a little bit of filming. I sat down on a bench there. And this woman looked at me and she said, good gracious, am I right? Are you Maggie Post? Well, I said, yes. And then she said, Henry, come here. Look who's with us in Mallorca. Maggie Post. And there you are.
Mae fe'n dod.
Please.
Benblwydd hapus i ti, benblwydd hapus i ti, mae